Hey guys, welcome back for another reaction. Today, I'll be reacting to 5 German habits Americans are now adopting. Let's see what it is.
What are the unique German habits we've picked up on while living in Germany that we would never have done living in the US?
Guys, and welcome back to our channel. I am Donnie.
And I'm Aubrey.
And we are two Americans currently living in Germany and sharing all of our experiences living and traveling throughout Europe. We have been living in Germany for 2 years now in one of the very Volkshochschule. If you don't know what a Volkshochschule is, a wide range of topics, and if you don't know what an integration course is, and politics. Or to put it simply, they don't teach you that I had never done when we teaching old dogs new tricks and other German ticks.
Our experiences are definitely specific to where we are originally from, a state in the southern US called Oklahoma, and where we live now in the southwestern German state of Rhineland-Pfalz. Both of these places have their own unique subcultures that may not be representative of the two countries as a whole. Therefore, let us know your experiences with these things in the comments below and where you're from. Also, if you're from a different country than these two, we want to hear about what these things are like where you live.
One of every foreigner living in Germany's favorite new thing is to learn the German recycling system. We've hit on this in multiple videos like a true foreigner in Germany's YouTube channel, but within the recycling system, there is an unofficial rule that took us by surprise the first time we learned about it and have since adopted it. This German habit is the act of sitting plastic or glass bottles next to a public trash can rather than throwing it away in the trash can. As a foreigner coming to Germany, this initially looks like really annoying littering because you will find a trash can that is not full or overflowing, yet it looks like the person who is done with their bottle just couldn't bring themselves to complete the throwing away task by actually putting it in the trash can. However, that is not the case at all.
In Germany, many, if not most, bottles are reusable, and when you purchase them, you actually pay a deposit on the bottle that you can get back when you return the bottle. Typically, if people are drinking from these bottles at home, they will collect them in a closet until they have enough to make a big trip to return them and then collect a larger refund for the deposits they had paid. However, if you're out and about, you don't want to carry a bottle around with you all day until you get home, but if you throw that bottle away, it literally is just throwing money away because of the deposit you already paid on it. Therefore, many Germans will set these bottles next to the trash can, and then someone who may be homeless or in need is able to come by, collect these bottles, and then return them to a store to collect the deposits for themselves. It's a really neat way of being able to help those in need indirectly in a small way. Of course, once we learned the reason behind the bottles next to the trash, we now always do this when we're out and about and are done with a bottle that has a font.
That is a really good system and very helpful to those homeless people, and a really good tip too. So now when I go to Germany, when I visit, I definitely do this as well so I can help the homeless people get some money from collecting those bottles.
On many foreigners' bucket lists when they travel to Germany is to drive on the world famous German Autobahn. The idea that there is a road that has no speed limits on part of it is obviously intriguing to many, and it can be very hard to resist the chance to put the pedal to the metal at least once. And I'm kind of scared to ask this, but leave in the comments, what is the fastest speed you have ever hit on the Autobahn or seen someone else going? Anyways, of course, we advise everybody to use extreme caution while driving on the Autobahn. And one thing you will notice is how great drivers are in Germany. So in most cases, they are able to do so very safely. Some of those key things to keep everybody safe on the Autobahn are the rules to only pass on the left, to move as far over to the right as possible when not passing, and to leave the left lane open when not passing someone else.
And this last rule is when our new adopted German habit comes into play. We now get so frustrated with people that don't leave the left lane open and just sit there even when they're not passing. Now in the US, This technically is also the way it's supposed to be done, but it does seem that a lot of American drivers either forgot this instruction or don't care because it is super common for people to coast in the far left lane in the US. I don't know if it was because we were just used to it or hadn't seen how incredibly efficient and safely the traffic moves when people don't do this, but it used to not bother us as much when we were in the US. But now, if we come up on a left lane cruiser, you will probably be able to hear Donnie from a few lanes over, as we have adopted a German tendency to get very upset about this.
I really do love road trips in Germany because for the most part people are so good about moving over after passing, and therefore we do go on a lot of road trips over here. While we are traveling around Germany, another thing that has made some of our trips enjoyable.
That is really interesting. And yeah, I actually reacted about Autobahn before, and that actually made me super shocked that there's no speed limit on it. And now I'm actually curious, how much speed limit have you guys ever done in Autobahn? Because I don't think I would be able to drive there. I mean, I'm good at obeying rules, but I just don't think I could drive in Autobahn or like in general there. I'd rather go on a train maybe, but yeah.
Is actually the sponsor of today's video, Readly. Readly is a digital magazine national, just like you newspapers.
Eliminates the clutter of bringing it on your device. Now, when we data while we are inspiration for Garden magazine.
Various travel magazine profiles on one account. Readly has some mystery science or day by clicking for $1.99, and after that,
rain or shine.
Real quick guys, if you are enjoying this video, please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button for us because it would be a huge help in supporting our channel. One thing we love about living in Germany is that when you go outside, you are bound to always find Germans out walking or biking. Now, we
very
personally used to
active.
go on walks in the evenings after work back in the US as well, so it wasn't that we came here and were suddenly inspired to walk because we saw Germans doing it constantly, but there is another way that Germans have influenced our walking, and that is based on the German saying, es gibt kein schlechtes Wetter, es gibt nur falsche Kleidung.
This German saying translates to, there is no such thing as bad weather, there is only wrong clothing. When you go on a walk or hike in Germany, one thing you will definitely notice is how Germans dress. When we used to walk in the US, it was because the weather was nice, sunny, definitely not wet, and we would therefore just wear whatever we were wearing and go on a walk. The Germans, on the other hand, walk no matter the weather and are always dressed for the weather. Cold, Jack Wolfskin winter gear. Wet, rain jacket. Not sure? Allwetterjacke. And that is exactly the German habit we have picked up on since living here. We no longer wait for the perfect weather to walk in. We now go in all weather and just make sure we dress appropriately so we can enjoy the great outdoors, rain or shine.
So even if it's pouring really hard, you still go outside? I mean, I can still go outside when it rains a little bit, like it's just sprinkle. But if it's raining really hard, like pouring really hard, I don't think I would want to go outside, like go for a walk, go for a hike.
As we've lived in Germany and of course have spent time learning German, I would have to admit that although our German is improving at a much faster rate, our Dinglish is improving. When I speak German or English now, I often have all of these confusing combination of words bouncing around in my head, and I might end up throwing out a sentence like, we need to grab some Ingwer and Knoblauch from the grocery store. Knoblauch. But I wouldn't necessarily categorize this as a German habit that we have picked up. However, there are two specific things that I do feel like are German habits we have picked up, and that is constantly saying ja and also.
Yeah.
What I think is funny about these is that they are common things you hear Germans using all the time, but they are also similar to English words that we would use. For example, when asked a yes or no question, we would often reply with just yeah, but of course with our American English pronunciation like that. However, now, in particular Donnie, will respond in a much more German pronunciation of ja, more often no matter if we are talking in English or just to English speakers. Or if we are about to begin something like cooking, once we start reading the recipe, we also begin with a also as we process what is to come. These are just little tiny differences we have adopted and now just do often without thinking about it or really understanding why we are doing it. Besides, we just hear it all the time in our daily lives from Germans and have soaked it up like a sponge. So I'm interested also in our German and English speaking.
That is interesting. I would try to say it the same way, but I am really shy, so I don't think I could do it in person. Like if I go to other countries and I would say thank you in their language, I will just say it in a really quiet way and say 감사합니다. or like Korean in a really quiet way. Yeah.
Audience, are there any words, phrases, or sounds that you have picked up on from the other and now use in your regular daily lives?
One thing that took us by surprise whenever we moved to Germany, and honestly, every time we go to another country and come back to Germany, it takes us by surprise again, is the dependence on cash in Germany. In our years living here, we have heard all of the reasons why this is the case in Germany, and we are not commenting on that at all. We also have been told by many Germans that they use their card for everything and rarely use cash, which honestly kind of surprises us. But based on our experiences, one German habit we have had to adopt neither by choice or preference, but out of necessity, is that we now carry cash on us everywhere we go and have to use it quite often.
This all is at least in comparison to what we were used to in the US, of course. We typically would have cash on us in the US, but it was primarily for that just in case moment if something happened and we either lost our card or couldn't use it. So this cash mostly just stayed in our wallets collecting dust. Now that we live in Germany, we very frequently come across stores or restaurants that only take cash, and therefore we must always keep some cash on hand so that we can make sure we are able to pay for our goods. My mom actually just recently visited and we forgot to tell her to bring euros with her, and she just brought her cards like she would in the US. And then she was shocked at how many places she wasn't able to pay for her souvenirs or food because they had no way of accepting card payments. We of course helped her out.
Well, yeah, paying cash is really convenient. So yeah, it's really a good tip to know this. So I will just carry cash all the time. I'm a cashless person, so this is a really good tip.
So those are just a few German habits that we have picked up since living in Germany for the last 2 years. But let us know in the comments if you have ever lived in a foreign country, what habits you picked up from the other.
That was a really good video and really informative. And I really like learning more things about Germany because then I know what to expect when I visit Germany soon. So yeah, see you guys next time. Bye.